It's All Things Considered. I'm Dave Lawrence, and we have a very special guest joining us who has shows starting up tomorrow night, Kauai Beach Resort, Friday night at the Mac, Saturday, Honoka'a People's Theater, Sunday, playing the Mamiya Theater, Honolulu area. Our buddy Judy Collins, she should be on the line right now.
Hey there.
Hey, Judy.
How you doing?
What's going on, buddy?
Oh, it's a blizzard here.
What they're doing is they're trying to prepare you for how nice it'll be in Hawaii.
Right.
Unless you're going to the top of one of the mountains on the Big Island, you're not going to run into any snow when you're here.
That'll be good.
You've made this sort of a regular routine recently, I've noticed now.
Yeah, I'm so happy. I love Hawaii. I love to be there.
Well, we're always grateful. It's
Thank you.
It's like a yearly thing. We're making a tradition.
Yeah, making a habit out of it. I love it.
First had you on a few years ago. You had a fascinating story, and I think for a lot of fans of public radio in particular, and definitely of you, your dad seems like such a study in determination himself. Blind, a singer, pianist, and a radio show host.
Yes, he had his own radio show. He played all the songs. He was a wonderful pianist and singer.
So it was mostly him playing live on the radio. That was the format.
That's right. He was a wonderful performer, very well-read. Yeah, he kind of took the high road there. He decided that nobody was going to tell him that he couldn't do what he wanted to do, and I think that's a good model for me. Keep your nose to the grindstone, do your work.
And you were part of the show, too, though. Didn't he use you and have you do little bits and stuff?
Oh, yeah. He'd get me on the show, but he was also very enthusiastic about anything that I was doing. And I think people in general have to remember to support whatever it is their kids want to do. I mean, except if it's drugs and murder, I think we're okay to say, well, let's support our kids when they want to do something that might sound a little crazy.
I hear what you're saying, crazy within moral boundaries, I guess it might be.
Exactly.
And taking classical piano lessons at 13, how does that arrive in your life?
Well, I started at 4.5 or 5 years old.
Hey, can I get you closer to the mic? You're
sure.
Just a little
My father recognized that I had some kind of talent. And so he got me with great teachers. And in fact, he found Dr. Rico for me in Colorado, who, of course, was a great teacher and conductor. And she's the one who got me playing Mozart with her orchestra. But I was playing all the time. I tell you, it's a part of my life. I'm still practicing every day. And it's a calling. I mean, it's not for everybody, but it sure does satisfy a lot of my demons.
And that teacher, funny story too, right? That teacher was somewhat disappointed in your budding interest in folk music, and even after you were a success, kind of looked at it like, wow, you could have been this big classical piano person.
Right. She always said you could have really gone places.
That must have shocked you, and she's telling you that. I mean, didn't she come and tell you that after you were doing a big sold-out show or something?
After a big concert at Carnegie Hall.
And what's this lady's name again?
Her name was Antonia Brico. Well, she had her own orchestra at Carnegie Hall. For 4 years during the Second World War, she had her own orchestra, and she was renowned around the world. So I was up against this Dutch-Italian ferocious woman. She taught me a lot. Patience, for one thing.
Wow, two big characters that we're uncovering here between your old man and the teacher. These are two formidable people that we owe some credit to for who you are.
Absolutely. They were my teachers, no question about it.
How do you first pick up the guitar?
I was about 15, I think, just barely. And I heard some songs on the radio. I heard Barbara Allen and the Gypsy Rover. They weren't Woody or Pete, but they were great, and they were great stories, and that's what hooked me.
And then it was Woody and Pete?
I heard them from a guy named Lingo the Drifter. Yeah. He came to town and got his own radio show, doing a lot of Woody and a lot of Pete, and this was before I found folk music. But he loved my father's show, and so he would come over and hang out with my dad. He would play This Land Is Your Land. My father would play songs from South Pacific. So it was a very funny combination. But they adored each other, and that's where I heard Pete and Woody. And
that was the introduction, really, to the guitar, too.
I needed the guitar right away because I knew that the guitar was a secret to the whole shebang. I mean, I went to Wells Music Company in Denver, and I said, I want to buy this record of Barbara Allen, which was, by the way, sung by Joe Stafford, of all people. The guy showed me to the rack of albums and showed me how Joe Stafford and Paul Weston, who was her husband and orchestrator, had jumped from Capitol Records to start their own label so that they could put out Scottish folk songs. I mean, this is another instance of people doing what they wanted, no matter what they were told.
Right. Had a huge influence on you.
Yeah, all of these incredibly interesting folk artists appeared. Everybody from Bob Gibson and Josh White and Woody Guthrie and Pete to the Clancy Brothers. Everybody had a record then, the old-timers. They all had records, and I had the opportunity to learn a lot of songs and to get a collection of pretty much traditional songs first. And pretty soon I had a job. You know, I was getting actual money, being paid to sing this stuff. I mean, I didn't think that was possible. But my first job was in Boulder at the Michael's Pub. And I just was fired up from then on, and I've never stopped, really.
Funny how radio factors so much into your life.
I did a radio show in New York on WBAI for a couple of seasons. I recorded Mimi and Dick Farina. Those tapes are lost, by the way. I don't know where they are. I was just searching today through a few things to see. Maybe I mislaid it. I had Mimi and Dick. I had Kerner Ray and Glover on that show. I had Tom Paxton on that show. I had the McPeak family, who always sang, oh, the summertime is coming, and the leaves are sweetly turning.
How long did you have the radio show?
It was short-lived because I was obviously traveling and touring. So I think I must have done, 3 or 4 months, I would say. But I loved it, and I knew about the radio business, so to speak. Yeah, radio's had it. And now, of course, I do a lot for PBS. I've done many shows over the years, starting with Sesame Street. I did about 16 different episodes of Sesame Street, and then I did The Muppet Show in England. And then I started doing specials for PBS.
But I guess none of them really compare with Snuffleupagus.
No, doing what's it called?
Duet.
Doing an aria with Snuffleupagus. I don't know that even Renee Fleming has done a duet with Snuffleupagus.
What a great name. And when you meet Snuffleupagus, do you meet the people who are underneath that first? Well,
you do, but honest to God, these characters are characters unto themselves, and you get friendly with the character. You don't get friendly with the person who's behind the puppet. You get friendly with the puppet himself or herself. In the case of Miss Piggy, that's a little hard because she's so jealous of me with Kermit.
But Snuffleupagus is a male?
As far as we know.
Right. Yes.
But in opera, you can never tell.
As you were talking, I was starting to think, I wonder if Snuffy, I've always, I didn't know if I had the gender right all these years.
I think he's a guy.
Going from back then, and then it brings you all the way up to modern times. I guess it was last year, you and Stephen Stills rehooked up. It was 50 years ago. Yeah,
50 years since we did our album. He played on an album of mine called Who Knows Where the Time Goes. And we had an affair, and he wrote Sweet Judy Blue Eyes, which is very nice of him. And then we had this really, I think, extraordinary friendship. He always says that we stayed friends because we've been married to other people. He's been married to other people many more times than I have.
Maybe you do a thing with him next year. That could be a way to...
So he'd like to go to Hawaii.
Maybe you could do like the three tenors. Well, you could do like the three, I don't know what, the three Collins peoples, and have like you and Stephen and Snuffleupagus. Thank you so much for talking. It's always a pleasure. I really appreciate it, Judy.
I love it. Thanks so much, and stay warm. Aloha. It's Judy Collins. And when I'm not hanging out with Snuffleupagus, or Bill Clinton or Stephen Stills, I'm hanging out with my good buddy Dave Lawrence. Hooray.
Hey, Judy.
Yes.
Do you ever sing with another singer? You know, what do you call it, a duet?
Oh, Big Bird, I love to sing with other people. That's a lot of fun.
Oh, well, have I got a singer for you?
You do?
Yeah.
Who is it?
Snuffleupagus.
A, B, C, D, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, F, G,